This is the rarest structure ever added to Minecraft, and this armor only existed in 2009, and these are 25 extinct Minecraft features. This video is sponsored by the Battle Cats. Now, from the name alone, you could probably guess two things. One, this game has a lot of cats, and two, it's plenty weird as well. And folks, both of those are true, and then some. In this game, you'll find a wide variety of different creative cat breeds to enlist in your army as you work to take over the universe. And as you take down these bizarre enemies, you'll wind up finding even more cat heroes to help out on your journey. And the way you do this is through the capsule machine, which lets you draw new rare characters to get yourself a top level team. Not only can you try it out for free today, but by using my link in the description or by scanning this QR code on screen, you can get your cat army started just in time for the special Lunar New Year campaign. Because as it turns out, that's happening right now. And folks, with just that, you're able to get yourself a free gift of 777 cat food and daily stamps that'll get you awesome rewards, like rare tickets and legendary charms, plus special rare capsule sets and 3 event-only Lunar New Year maps that'll appear in the campaign until February 20th, all of which is going to help you out a ton, and have both you and your army feline fine. It's a game about cats, I had to make at least one pun. So click that link below and start today. Thanks, Battle Cats. This is the rarest structure in Minecraft, and not just because it doesn't exist anymore, but even when they existed in the game, these giant brick pyramids were rarer than woodland mansions are today, though you would have only found them during the in-dev phase of Minecraft, which alone is tough enough to boot up that version, but lucky for us, they did have a specific location that they spawned in, so as soon as you found one, you were still able to share it with your friends. In the past, if a creeper was about to explode, then any mobs within a certain range would turn and run away from the creeper, which seems like it makes sense, right? Self-preservation and all that. But the real reason this feature was eventually removed was because it causes an immense amount of lag. Sure, it seems simple to have a mob run away when a creeper's about to explode, but to do that, Mojang had it where the mobs were constantly checking to see if there's an exploding creeper nearby. And when every mob that's loaded in the game is trying to do that all at once every single tick, it's no surprise that you got a lot of lag. And as cool as this feature would have been, it's never seen the light of day since. Before the path block was ever added to Minecraft, our villages looked entirely different, and the reason was that these originally spawned with gravel roads instead. But ever since the grass path block was added in, you won't see any gravel show up in this way anymore, which is weird when you see the grass path blocks out inside of the desert as well. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like gravel would have made more sense there. These Minecraft villagers do not exist anymore. Or at least they don't in this way, because prior to 1.14, the villagers used to dress a lot differently, and instead of having to interact with them to find out what their job was, they actually traded differently based on the color of coat that they wore, whether that was pink, green, or the iconic white coat villager that you'd see in something like old Dan TDM videos. But perhaps the biggest loss from this era was the fact that they didn't need restock stations, which when you're waiting for your librarian to finally restock on mending books, that'd be a welcome change. When dolphins were first added to Minecraft, they came along with a bug, which is that through special methods, you were actually able to equip armor onto dolphins. Granted, you wouldn't be able to see it since it didn't render on top of the mob, but if you tried to hit one of them, especially one with thorns, you'd notice that they'd actually have the armor and its effects. And then if you killed the dolphin, it'd even drop the armor as well. But this was eventually removed and it hasn't been in the game since, which is maybe just to keep us from doing a cruel joke of giving a dolphin Frostwalker and watching whatever kind of horror unloads. This secret feature was added to Minecraft only to be removed shortly after, but for a brief period during release 1.7, you could find a feature in your settings menu called Super Secret Settings. And while that's ominous, when you would click on it, it actually showed off different shader options for Minecraft. And the different settings were weird to say the least. You could go from everything from pixelated to black and white and even upside down. And honestly, I'm surprised it was possible for Minecraft to get more pixelated anyway. But what seemed like an early show-off for adding in shader effects to vanilla Minecraft was quickly removed. And the worst part? We never got to find out the secret. Ever since Minecraft 1.7, you haven't been able to get a rose in vanilla Minecraft. But the reason isn't all that serious, it's really just because the rose was eventually replaced with the name Poppy instead. And while texture packs like Vanilla Tweaks let you change this back to the original name, I think it's still a bummer for our iron golems. I mean, they don't even give out villagers flowers anymore. You can't craft this item anymore. But before Minecraft 1.9, there was a way to craft an enchanted golden apple. Though to do this, you would have to pay a hefty price, putting 8 golden blocks inside of the crafting table around an apple, which is a hefty fee, but considering that nowadays the only way to find these is through rare loot chests, I think I'd much rather set up a gold farm and do this the old-fashioned way. At least then it's a matter of skill, not luck. Since beta 1.8 of Minecraft, if you were to dig down into the void and stand on top of bedrock, you'd notice that down around those lower Y levels, there would be a void fog that would cloud up your vision, until eventually you reached to the bottom and it was pitch black, which I've gotta say made branch mining a whole lot scarier to do. And that's probably why this feature was removed in snapshot 14W34C. But since then, Minecraft World worlds have gotten twice as deep. And honestly, with the deep dark, I feel like having void fog in the game again would make some sense. I mean, it doesn't fit with the old Minecraft textures, but with Deep Slate, I think it does the job. While Minecraft's textures have famously changed a lot, the game doesn't just look different, but it sounds different too. And nowhere is that more noticeable than if you take damage. Whereas now we're familiar with this damage sound effect. In the past, there was that classic sound effect where Steve would say, and as charming as that is, it's easy to understand why it was eventually removed. What was the first biome added to Minecraft? Well, it certainly seems like the game started off with the Plains biome. Apparently, the first ever official type of biome was called Winter Mode, and it was added into Minecraft during the alpha phases, though you only had a small chance in spawning in one of these, considering that it was a 25% of a world generating like this. But once Minecraft hit alpha version 1.2, that Winter Mode was eventually removed in favor of the proper biomes that were eventually added. If you kill a Minecraft zombie, what does it drop? Well, in the past, it used to be feathers. Since before rotten flesh even existed as an item, Notch didn't know what zombies were supposed to drop. So as a placeholder, when zombies are killed, they drop around 2 feathers on death, which is by far the weirdest way I can think of for making a farm for these. But since chickens don't spawn in dungeons, I guess this was maybe easier to get. Although all of that changed in beta 1.8 when zombies would finally get the item that they were supposed to have, rotten flesh. Are Minecraft bundles extinct? We honestly don't know. I mean, sure, they were added into the game in 1.17, but they still don't have a proper implementation. I mean, you can't even craft them. And now that we've gone 2 Minecraft updates since the future, that's still the case. And while this item does still seem useful, with the ability to let you stack up 64 items regardless of the item type, it was ultimately removed from the Caves and Cliffs Part 2. So is it extinct? Who knows? But is it forgotten? Well, not by the community, but maybe by Mojang. Ever since Minecraft's Wild update, this popular feature no longer exists. But before 1.19, it was possible to upgrade your brightness from bright to super bright, considering that you could go into the game's files and just manually change the gamma settings. But I guess it does make sense that the same update that they added in, the deep dark, they would also remove this insane brightness option. It kinda removes the fun. And nowadays, the only way they're gonna pull this off is by using one of the many mods out there that exist for a third-party alternative. Back during the development phases of Minecraft, Notch originally added these giant zombies to the game, and the idea is that these would function as some kind of boss when you saw them in the game. But that whole idea fell through, though they weren't properly removed either, since according to Notch, they were just too cool to remove. And honestly, I disagree, considering that the only time I've ever seen these in the game, they've never had AI, so they're basically just a big statue. Not to mention the fact that they only have 100 hearts of health, which did seem big at the time, but that's the exact same amount of health as the Iron Golem, which when you do a size comparison is not nearly as impressive. This is the deadliest rabbit in Minecraft, or at least it was the deadliest rabbit in Minecraft. But ever since 1.8, the Killer Bunny variant no longer has a chance of spawning. And the reason for this, according to Jeb, is that the joke's already been made to death, so it was then removed. Or should I say the spawning was then removed, because if you use the summon command, it is still possible to get. I just wouldn't recommend that you stand too close when you do. If you were to fly 12,550,810 blocks away from spawn, then you'd be greeted to this sight, the Farlands. And while this bug no longer exists in Minecraft, it is true that back in beta versions of the game, there existed this special terrain that would generate when the world started to overload. And is it weird? Sure, but it's also a piece of Minecraft history, so it's hard not to look at it and not get impressed. Man, make no mistake, even though this doesn't exist in Minecraft anymore, it's still plenty relevant. And that's why moments like Kilo Crazy Man walking all the way to the Farlands in survival is such a big deal. It takes months to do in this old versions, since when you don't have an elytra or a horse, it's tough to get there naturally. And I just have to accept that most of us are gonna only visit this using commands. From version 1.8 to 1.13 of Minecraft, there existed a special option in the world building settings. Or should I say options, because when you clicked on this custom world builder menu, it allowed you to customize a whole bunch about your Minecraft world. Like the ability to change the sea level, the dungeon count, whether you had villages or not, and a whole bunch more. It makes a lot of sense for a sandbox game. Honestly, I'm surprised that it's been cut out entirely. But seeing the kind of horrors that you can generate with this world type, maybe that's for the best. If you play Minecraft on PC, you're probably not familiar with this, but for those of you who played Minecraft on console, this is instantly recognizable as the Minecraft tutorial world. And it's probably a bit nostalgic, because this hasn't been in the game since. But in this iconic world, you'd find the classic Minecraft logo built across the sky, with a whole bunch of tutorials underneath to teach you the details of Minecraft. But as charming as this was, it was removed from the game eventually, and now the only way to get it is by downloading a map. And I guess if anyone should be happy this got removed, it would be me, but I'm a little sad to see this piece of Minecraft history go to the wayside. Minecraft enchanting used to be a lot more expensive, because before Minecraft 1.8, if you wanted to enchant 3 different tools with a max level enchantment, you would need 90 levels to do it, because each one of those tools that you enchanted cost 30 levels apiece. And nowadays, it's a lot more gracious. This time only needing you to be above level 30 to unlock the enchantment, and then costing 3 levels for the enchant. And I'll gladly take the extra cost of lapis to make that work. Back in the day, Minecraft mobs used to jump, which doesn't sound that weird, but what's weird is how often they would do it. See, back in the beta versions of Minecraft, the AI for mobs wasn't the greatest, so whenever you would encounter any mob, they would just jump up and down repeatedly. Which is cute that they were excited, but you can definitely see why Mojang would patch this out before the game's full version. And nowadays, they're only gonna jump when they need to, like to get up a block or something. This is Minecraft Steve. Nothing new, right? And this is 100 Minecraft Steves. Maybe that's a little weirder. But back in the first version of Minecraft Classic, it was possible that if you pressed the G key on your keyboard, you could create an infinite number of Steves running around your world. And running around your world is a bit of an understatement for what they're doing. They would just flail around, oddly moving their limbs place to place. And nowadays, the G key has no functionality, and you can't summon Steves at all. So this is definitely an extinct feature. Here's the fastest way to build a nether portal in Minecraft. See, if you were to play an alpha version 1.2.2a, it was possible for a player to spawn the nether portal by simply pressing the F4 key, which I don't care how good of a speedrunner you are, it's hard to beat that kind of speed. But unfortunately, that feature was short-lived, and it got removed in literally the next update. But that doesn't just mean that the F4 key is good for nothing, since nowadays if you press Alt F4, it'll actually take you to an entirely different dimension, your Windows home screen. Sorry. This was the first armor ever added to Minecraft. When Mojang was testing out adding armor to the game, the first one that they added in was actually called plate armor. And while it looks pretty similar to iron armor, you wouldn't want to get them mixed up, since the plate armor unfortunately gave no protection when you wore it. And I've got to say, if you're testing out armor, I feel like maybe having the armor actually protect you would be one of the things that you'd want to try first, but maybe that's just me. By building a structure made out of gold blocks, cobblestone, and a nether reactor core, you could build yourself the so-called nether reactor, which was a feature that only exists in old versions of Bedrock Minecraft. And once you went through all those steps of building it, then what would happen is that you'd get this message telling you it was active, before it generated this massive structure of netherrack around it called the Nether Spire. And in a version of the game where you couldn't go into the nether dimension actually, this was a solid substitute. But as soon as there was an actual way to go into the nether dimension, there wasn't really a point for this, and it's been lost to time. And with that, folks, YouTube thinks that you might like this video, so see if they're right and have a good one, alright?